Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live AMA. And today I have the very special privilege of welcoming Kyle and Joseph. But our man of the hour is Kyle. Kyle,
Chassé.
Introduce yourself. Chassé, I was going to say, I'm not quite sure. I'm a very ignorant English man. So I was at Chassé, But Kyle Chassé, that's it. That's the one.
Chassé.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome, Kyle. So, guys, if you don't know who Kyle Chassé is, he's one of the true OGs in crypto. So we're super honored and privileged to have him here. People who might not be aware of who you are, which is unlikely, but can you let us know, like a brief intro into yourself and about yourself, and let us know?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. I'm just trying to get some light over here on me. Yeah, so I've been in crypto since 2012, but really full time since 2013.
Got to get that light in.
Yeah, just a little bit more light. And yeah, so 2013 I went full time. Before crypto, like I've always found myself doing kind of what fascinated me as far as kind of my professional life, So I mean, like, actually just lived quite a different life. Instead of going to university after high school, like most people in America, I went and traveled the world. And then when I was ready to kind of start doing like money making things, I started a serial entrepreneur and did a bunch of different things. And it was always something that was kind of like, I always try to do something that had never been done before, inventing a new business, inventing a new model, whatever. And plus was also very much, one of the guys who was always watching and interested in quote unquote conspiracy theories, right? But later come find out that most of those have some degree of truth to them. And really what it was is more like, what is really going on in the world here? That's what I was trying to understand. And when I was traveling around the world backpacking from like 17 until almost 20 years old, like I met a lot of people that kind of enlightened me about the way that like politics and the way that world worked, the lack of transparency, and like, I never voted as an American. I always thought it was like a rigged system, and really frustrated me also too, because I felt like we were very privileged to be living there compared to a lot of people in the world, and I really felt for a lot of the rest of the world seeing it, firsthand. And so I always really felt this like deep down passion to kind of do something significant, and to try to make a big change. And so giving you that context, it would seem pretty naturally fitting that when I found so I discovered first Bitcoin. I heard about it with Silk Road and the dark web, and that was just more like fascinated by what is this whole thing. It wasn't Bitcoin necessarily, it wasn't Silk Road necessarily, it wasn't the dark, that there is an existence of a dark web necessarily. It was kind of like all of those combined. But in 2013, when I found out that Bitcoin was the only thing that saved WikiLeaks, and enabled them to continue to do their job when every other centralized power tried to cut off the money supply to them, like that's when I realized how powerful this technology could be. And it was just my calling at that point. So I've been building in the space since then. I started a Bitcoin lottery in 2013 called World Super Lotto. And I've done a bunch of stuff since then. I actually sold my company in 2013, which was a longevity and anti-aging regenerative medicine company, and exited fiat in 2013, and pretty much have been living off Bitcoin and crypto since then, which obviously means converting. But anyway, and then I've just been really fascinated by the space, and I've worn a lot of hats, and I think that's probably one of the most things that makes me the most unique in this space. Is like I haven't done just one thing. I haven't just been, an advocate. I haven't just been an institutional investor. I haven't just been a retail investor. I haven't just ran syndicates. I haven't just been an educator, a content creator. I haven't just been a VC. I haven't just been a founder of a project. I haven't, I've done all of them and worn that role throughout it. So it gives you a broad perspective, and more. There's more, like advisors, token economic designs, everything. And so I consider myself an expert generalist in the space, and have a really good perspective on what it takes to kind of go to market, what it takes to be successful. And I know what to look for when I'm evaluating teams to see if I want to work with them or invest into them. And my objective here really in crypto is is to be like have a significant role to play in to help usher in blockchain and crypto and the idea of decentralization. And so we have that chat GPT moment, right? Like AI has been around for 35 years or whatever, but it wasn't really a thing that everyone used until ChatGPT, right? And so a lot of people say, "Oh, like blockchain's not," but we will have that moment where people understand the power of this technology that's being built, and I want to be here intimately involved in this industry until that happens, and then the light bulb goes off and people realize how powerful it is. At that point, I feel like I can move on, and not that I don't want to be here forever, but like I also just feel like I've got other things in this world that I want to do. Predominantly after this is like longevity and anti-aging still. So
Yeah, amazing. Obviously, like you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. You have a large amount of experience, and which is exactly why we're so happy to have you join us as a knight on the CryptoKnight show. And as a knight, what qualities do you look for in a project, or what ideas that you like? Like what gets your attention, and what qualities do you look for in projects?
I like to find so it's a lot to do with the founders. I think that if you have I want to work with, because when I get involved with a project, I get pretty involved. Like I'm not a very passive investor. I usually want to come on board as an advisor, or and then obviously if I invest into something, then I'm going to be talking about it and on my social media channels and stuff, and stand behind it. So I want to find founders that truly think that they're doing something that is needed, or that they're just excited to do, right? Like really fired up. I think I can tell the difference between someone who's coming in here and seeing and having dollar signs in their eyes, and like their end goal is to come in and leave with as much fiat as possible, right? Versus the founders that like understand that whatever token they're creating, that ecosystem is going to be very valuable, and they're excited to bring that to the world, and they think what they're doing is truly beneficial to a large amount of people in some way or another. So it's founders, and I think that if you have the right founders with the right passion, and probably experience too, not even always experience, because you can always hire for that, but good idea, and really passionate founders with some business sense that they can actually execute. That's what I really look for, is a team.
Absolutely, that's what it comes down to. And I'm quite curious, like, what did you think initially when you got that invite to join the CryptoKnights? Did you look at RightStream? Did you look at the team? Did you look at the project? Did you see who was behind it?
Yeah, well, I've actually met Riaz first, and then Joseph a while back. We talked about this, it was over a year ago, when it was during COVID. Like I'm locked out, and like, so this is when the idea was first floated to me, and it's something that I had been thinking about for a long time, because I have all day long I'm on calls with founders and doing due diligence, and so and a lot of people that like my girlfriend, for example, or anyone who's just in the room with me, they're like, man, you should really record these calls and like put them. I'm like, man, I can't, like it's like, because I will really, I don't have time to be. I am kind of polite to some that deserve, but like also at some points I'm just very, very blunt, and it can be very entertaining, I guess, from the outside looking forward. Like, yeah, but of course, seeing the team behind it, the experience, gives me a lot of confidence that that hopefully what we do gets seen by millions of people around the world, and gives them some better perspective on what to look for. Because in crypto now, it's not gated to just the wealthy and the accredited investors. You have the ability for any person on the planet to go ahead and exchange their hard-earned currency for whatever, if it's a meme project or whatever they want to now. And so you have, which is great. It enables financial freedom for people, but at the same time, more responsibility falls on them. And so I think that if we can help educate them and teach them what to look for, is going to be doing a big service to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that one of the goals of the show itself is to demystify crypto to the masses. And I think that having you there and the panel of knights that we have, all from different aspects of Web3, I think really is a really important thing to kind of bring it out to the masses and simplify it and make it adaptable. And I mean, I think that do you think that CryptoKnights is a critical driver for mass adoption of blockchain and Web3? Do you think it shows like CryptoKnights are needed in order to educate and simplify and demystify crypto and Web3?
Yeah, I think if we do our job correctly, then yes, absolutely. Because I think for mass adoption to happen, we need to abstract away the complexities of blockchain. Like I always use this example that blockchain is infrastructure, right? And infrastructure historically in our lives has always been just that. It's something that we can trust that works, but we don't have to interact with it, right? Like if I don't have to check the foundation of my house every night before I go to sleep to make sure it doesn't collapse on me. Or if I use a bridge, I don't go check the integrity of the bridge before I cross it, right? Like they just work. They're just there. And if we use them as a bridge, maybe you pay a toll for it or whatever. But like you abstract away we can't expect the other everyday person who doesn't care about crypto to have to learn how to use it, right? And so this is where we're headed now. It's taken a lot of time for us to get to a point where we can get there, where we can still keep it safe and secure and also abstract or remove away the really scary part, right? And the really scary part for everyone is like very scary. You download MetaMask and it's like, warning, you could lose everything. Don't show this to everybody. Write this down, memorize it, bury it in your backyard. Don't tell anyone. Like, it's just scary as hell. And I have a lot of people I've onboarded that get scared about that, and so, so I think that, one of the things that would be a common question for us to ask when vetting projects and as they come on is like, how are you going to, how is grandma going to use this? And I think that was the beauty of Robinhood, right? Was that anyone could buy stocks with Robinhood before, but no one knew that they could, right? And so giving them the power from an app that's really easy to use, to connect with your bank, buy stocks, like that was a big revolution for the retail. That enabled Wall Street bets, that enabled the GameStop thing. This is what we need to do, is focus on how to make that user interface really nice. And so with that, I think that this can highlight the future of what it is, because I think at this point people are so confused.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of people that have like misconceptions and confusion over how it works. If you try to explain like to your like you said to your grandma, like, oh, it's like stocks, but that it's not like stocks. It's you know what I mean? And like, what's the most common misconceptions do you think there are?
Well, that's the point, right? Is that they shouldn't have to know, like, for a lot of it. So a lot of people, yes, they come into crypto and think about it like a stock, right? And that, unfortunately, like, you can do that, right? But then you're a gambler. Then you're playing the gambling game, right? But if you really want to look for like who's going to be, okay, I always use this example of Uber, right? So like Uber is something that we all use, right? And or Grab or Lyft or wherever you are in the world. And we never have to talk to, like, we never call up anybody there. They just think it just works, right? We just call, like, in Drivers Connect, and it's essentially peer-to-peer, but in Uber, it's not. You have to pay this value extracting, soul-sucking middleman who does nothing after they built the protocol. They just take value away from the passenger and driver. And you could build a decentralized version of Uber, and the user experience from both the driver and the passenger feel exactly the same. I download an app, and the drivers sign on, and like there's a peer-to-peer consent or something like that you agree that like you take responsibility for whatever. There could be like a review system so people could trust each other, but the payment's done through the app, through crypto. And so now in Uber, from my house to the airport, let's say it costs $100 and the driver keeps 70. Now in a decentralized version, my house to the airport maybe costs $90 and the driver keeps 89, and $1 goes back to everyone who's securing the network. So there's no value extracted from a centralized company. And so in this version, what you've done is essentially like the end user does not care it's on blockchain or crypto, right? They just know that like they make more money or they pay less for the ride. And that's ideally the future that we're looking to get into, is how can you, those who understand the benefits of removing that middleman from extracting value and providing more value from the peer-to-peer parties, that is like the beauty of what it is. And this is when the light bulb will go off, because people will be like, I get it. Like this is, and then I think once people start to understand this, a whole new world of innovation will happen where people are actually focusing on, and that's a big problem that we have right now is people, they're building centralized companies with middlemen, and they have a token for some reason. The thing is that thing is not any better than the centralized counterpart in which you're claiming to disrupt. You still have the centralized thing that's extracting value. So this is something I look for a lot, is I look for like, okay, you got a token, like why? And then what is its purpose? And are you going to be disrupted in the future? Because in that same Uber example, you could create, what a lot of people are doing today is they're creating that 2.5 version, Web 2.5, where they're like, okay, well, we're going to create decentralized Uber. And now, for example, like instead of Uber takes 30%, we're only going to take 10%. Okay, well, you're better than Uber, but you're still a centralized company extracting value from the situation. So maybe while you start to capture some market share initially, you still are ripe for disruption because someone's going to come do it properly. And that's the most efficient way to do it. So I think there's a lot of like levels here that people can understand, and hopefully by the time that we're done, in addition with the channel, the content I make on my channel, and just overall educational campaign, people can understand like what to look for and do due diligence, because these people who do things correctly are going to be the ones that actually get into the multi-billions of dollars of valuation, and then the protocols who actually really kind of service the entire world, they will be valued in the trillions of dollars. These protocols, they'll be more valuable than any company on the planet. Like I think Chainlink, for example, will be $1 trillion company or more.
Interesting. That's yeah. You kind of touched on a lot, and I think decentralization is like, although it might seem not as user friendly to some, it's the most free and liberating, and where you kind of get the benefits most and first and foremost, right?
I want to add something to that.
Yeah.
I was with Grab. I was head of R&D at Grab in Southeast Asia when Uber was around, and we were small. We were like David, they were like Goliath, at that time. And yes, we did think about that whole decentralized model, but I'm telling you, the amount of problems we had daily with the drivers, with the passengers, all these things, trying to find incentive systems that work so that people will behave the right way. I think that's really where, we can channel a lot of that revenue that they take into proper incentivizing proper behaviors,
Yeah.
Right. So that I felt like we are just a support line nonstop, dealing with the customer, dealing with this, and it was.
You can outsource that work to a DAO, right? So when I said that in the version that I gave you, I said the passenger pays $90, the driver keeps $89, $1 goes back to securing the system. It could even be $2 that go back to securing the system. That can go to arbiters, right? So you can actually create jobs in a DAO system where these arbiters, essentially governors of protocol, are the ones who are doing arbitration. So if there is a dispute, like first of all, you would have to have a reputation graph built into the system where everyone has an identity, somehow tied to biometrics, so that they can't escape and create a new reputation if they completely are some creepo driver or whatever. But these can all be solved for, and I agree with you for sure. But I do think that, again, like, we
had like crazy issues, like kidnapping issues. We had drugs. So they were using Grab, I'm not supposed to say, but using Grab to smuggle drugs from one part of the country to another, shipping it, using all kinds of crazy things happening, And I think in Southeast Asia, it's really a very, because the whole economy, somehow you can do a lot of things and get away with it, So there were a lot of crazy things happening in the space as well. I'm not saying it can't be done, I'm just saying that, and also the unions, the taxi unions, that one, the way they come after you, and some of the dirty tricks that people do in there, like they will block you. They'll not let the drivers come in. If you're from this company, from Grab, you can't come in here. They have people standing out there blocking you from coming in. The unions are so powerful, So it is. a real challenge. I mean, and I think that maybe one day we can find a solution. Again, it was super complex, right? I'm not saying it can't be done, but I think we're working towards it. I think we're working towards ways where we can make this work. There could be a DAO that's focused on safety. I don't know. I don't know. I think we're really at the beginning of something, right?
This is the fun part about working with founders. Is like, I mean, one of the projects that we've been building called Commonwealth has been in the works for almost 3 years, from from inception of idea until now going live the next month. There was so much that we had to overcome. And at first everybody said, there's no way, right? There's no way you're going to do this. Like, it's just not possible. And we've been working for years on taking feedback, with open mind, and then swallowing some of that and being like, oh shit, like they're probably right. Like we should, at first, my first reaction is like, nah, let's shut up. Like it'll be fine. But then it's like, no, this is a real concern. Like, this is a real problem. If we don't solve for this, it might be the fatality of the project. So, I'm not saying that it could be done. It's not easy as this, but it's just a matter of sitting down, figuring out what are the things that we need to overcome and how to solve for them. Right. And I always think that there is a way to solve.
Yeah, because we know what the problems are. So that's the first thing. If you know what the problems are, and we've been there, done that, we know, okay, these are the potential things that can happen. It's just a matter of will, that someone comes in and say, hey, look, I'm going to solve it. And I'm sure that people can solve it. It's just the right incentive structure, the right way of doing it, it can be solved. But Carl, I'm really curious to hear about Commonwealth. I think everyone wants to know about Commonwealth. Can you talk about it today? Is that something you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think that one of the most interesting things for me, being essentially kind of operating in when I lived in the United States and I did the Bitcoin lottery, I was operating in a pseudo-anonymous way, right? Like no one ever knew my identity. When I did the live broadcast of the live drawings of the lottery, but those were, you never saw my face. And then, so all this time I've been operating, essentially pseudo-anonymous. I would go to conferences a little bit, but like I was nobody public. And in about 2015, my Bitcoin that I had accumulated back in 2012 and 2013 had appreciated quite a bit. And and I wanted to start diversifying into other infrastructure that was building up this entire space. And so I discovered a platform called Bank to the Future. And it's such a great opportunity for everyday nobodies like myself to be able to invest alongside Pantera and A16Z and Sequoia. And wow, like I felt super special. I got to invest in Coinbase. I got to invest in Kraken, Ripple, Circle, which is USDC. I got to invest in Bitfinex, which is USDT. All of these behemoths, Abra, like all these guys that are now going public and being valued in all unicorns. That wasn't like I was literally nobody. I wasn't at a VC. Wasn't connected, but I found this platform and I was an accredited investor at the time. So I got to invest alongside these other funds and come in these amazing opportunities. That made me feel special and very fortunate. This opportunity has not existed to anybody in the world still to today, especially if you're not rich or hooked up or accredited, right? It just doesn't exist. And so the idea was like, we're evolving in the world. There's one set of criteria for United States investors, but there's also the entire rest of the world, right? And so like, why is there not an opportunity for everybody to also be able to participate in the best early stage rounds, and that we're investing into, and other VCs. And I think that's healthy for a project too, because one of the most important things for a project is community, especially in this space. Like a community can be so powerful. They are your guerrilla marketing army. They are. I see in the comments here, there's people for Blocksmove, which we worked with before, I invested into, and like, this is one or two people in the comments talking about Blocksmove, but like if you have an army of 10, 20, 30,000 people and they're out there always telling their friends in live streams, they're talking about your project, that is so powerful. And we've gotten away from actually allowing a lot of retail to participate because people are so afraid of regulation or whatever. They don't even want to do public sales anymore. It's just like VCs, KOLs to an exchange, and then let the retail buy your 30x bag. Right, like, and that doesn't make them feel special. Like that, like, okay, cool. So the KOL that shilled this, the influencer that shilled this token to you just sold it to you for 30 times more than they paid for it, so they can offload it to you. Like, that doesn't make anyone feel special. It doesn't grow communities. It's terrible. So everything that we've been working on is trying to get deal flow into retail, into users, the 99%. And so through, like I said, through 2.5, 3 years of grinding, working with legal, figuring out how to do things in a way that we're calling a structure. It's legal decentralization. We figured out how to do it, and how we could do it with minimal legal risk in a way that's all the lawyers are willing to sign off and saying, like, this is probably defensible in any type of court situation where it's not going to be a problem. We managed to get we managed to find out a lot of ways that we can create several layers of due diligence, essentially, to minimize risk, meaning that there is what we call oracles, but there are council members that they're right now, I think there's 10, but eventually that might expand to 20. They're all experienced, successful VCs or angel investors who have a track record. And the idea is that they are the ones that can propose deals to the different funds in Commonwealth. So Commonwealth essentially is a decentralized fund, and there can be multiple funds that operate, and that runs like a fund. I also believe a lot of times that in blockchain, it's about systems innovation. It's not about reinventing wheels. It's about looking at the systems that exist and understanding how we can make them more effective using blockchain. And so this is one of them. Like, the VC model is great. VCs that are successful make tons of money. But if we could open up that access to everybody, if we could keep the profit and revenues generated not in my pocket, but redistributed to all the token holders, that would be really cool. And maybe you can create the biggest fund in the world, the most active and engaged, like, just fanatical community, because the more successful it is, the more money everyone makes within this organization. And so, so we figured out a way to, like, minimize risk, allow massive participation, and figured out how to align incentives and values between all parties involved. It was, between the project themselves, between the VCs and the retail. How does everyone win from the situation? So I think that's what we've done here, and I'm really excited because there's, like, literally nothing like it. Nothing. Everyone's doing the same. Oh, we're doing this on this chain, and we're doing that on this chain. It's like, but no one has done anything like Commonwealth.
Wow, fascinating. How would you say? Okay, like, some people spoke to me about this and say simple questions that they ask me, right? How is it different from a launch pad? You could explain it in a very simple way like this.
Yeah, it's very easy. So the Launchpad is, even though, like, paid ignition is our Launchpad, and that's, we can get into later about why it's totally different than anything else. I'd like to even not categorize it the same as, like, other ideal Launchpads, but essentially, like, the Launchpad model focuses usually on later stage projects, maybe slightly less risk, higher valuations, maybe better, and then you actually have For ours, paid ignition. Other ones operate in different ways. We actually have permissionless peer-to-peer transactions. But anyway, on a Launchpad, the participants manage their own tokens that they receive from the project. So they're responsible for managing. That means they decide when to buy, when to sell, when to hold, all that stuff, right? It puts responsibility on them. They have to be actively engaged. When you invest into a fund, let's say I invest into Sequoia or Pantera, I give them money, and I don't see it for a long time, right? And they just manage it for me. They sell for me. They do everything, and that I think a lot of people around the world would like that. The problem is that traditional funds have huge barriers of entry. I mean, if you want to invest in Pantera's fund or Sequoia, I mean, it's minimum $250,000, but more likely 1 million minimum, and just who can afford that? So Commonwealth, again, it tries to improve on the traditional fund structure, but something that's very familiar to people. So it is also, when a fund opens up, it could be a general purpose fund, or it could be a specific fund. Maybe it's a metaverse fund or a DeFi fund. And let's say the fund is $10 million. The fund opens up. Anyone can come deposit stablecoin into the fund. And the fund fills, it's closed. And then the oracles can make proposals on which projects to invest into. The oracles should have already put their money where their mouth is, meaning that their fund or them have written a check. And then they send it to the fund. The LPs of the fund get to vote yes or no to invest in it. They invest, and then when the proceeds come back, those are programmatically liquidated for stablecoin on a respectable schedule. and then the investors are repaid stablecoin until they break even. Once they break even, there's a fee that kicks in the same way a fund would, except for this fee is goes back into the token economy and not into any centralized entities' pockets.
Awesome. I think the timing for this is perfect. I think you timed it to perfection, right? I'm quite excited to see it in action. You did. I mean, when we spoke the last time, you did mention that, hey, possibly having Commonwealth on the show, right?
I think it'd be amazing if they were. I mean, this is Go ahead. I'll let you finish, Joseph.
No, I think that was. I was just trailing off. I was not going to say anything after that, but we're happy to look into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think it would be great for people to learn about it. I think that it'd be interesting to see, the other judges that are on the show, what their thoughts are. I'm always, there's always criticism, and I also welcome different feedback too, right? And a lot of times, I mean, but we've had a lot of critique. But yeah, it'd be great to get some really just hardcore, don't hold back, let the team, because I'm just one of the original ideators, right? I'm not on the executive team on day to day. Now I'm taking more of like an advisory role, even though it was the core concept and ideas and token model was largely a part of me, but also part of the other founders and stuff like that too. But we've always tried to run that very community focused. Even the first fundraise was just through an NFT sale to community. It's always community first there. And so it's as much as we can, we try to operate that thing in a democratic way. And the goal would be to eventually completely decentralize that. And so framework to build that. But yeah, I'm sure they would love to come on and present. And I think that is something that probably I try to think of what is one product that everybody in the world wants. What is it's like there's a lot of gamers, but not everyone plays games. But when you think about crypto, everyone wants to make more money, right? And everyone wants to do it. And everyone's scared to death to play the shitcoin casino and go gamble in the secondary market. You're much better off if you have access to like early stage deals.
And if you can get on the ground floor like the top VCs, you get that piece of action which normally you don't get. I think this is a really compelling product, right? Definitely love to hear more. You connect your teams to our team, and we'll talk and we'll figure out something. And this is a good segue, Kenny. I'm sorry for usurping.
Oh no, you guys were on a roll. I don't want to interrupt. It was really interesting and informative. I was very gripped into it. So
I want to segue a little bit into the format for the show. Carl, I didn't have a chance to update you on this, and I wanted to. I want to have a separate call with you, but since the whole community is here, I think I want to give this update. Okay, and we've been doing some pre-production filming. We've been signing up with some projects. We've been doing some early filming with them. I think you guys are so excited to hear that. But my first line of attack was I really wanted to get the tier one, what I call the alphas, right? The alpha projects first. I wanted to get those first, the best of the best, the ones that can really redefine the space or define the space. The startups which are so interesting that we look back and say, hey, yeah, these are the ones that truly disrupted things. So started going after these guys first, and it was hard. It was hard because these guys don't need funding. They don't need money. They don't need support. They have the best KOLs. They have the best funds. They have the best everything, right? But I wanted them in, especially so we structured the show in such a way that, hey, you know what, guys, when you come into the show, when the show goes live, we want you to have a strong call to action on the show. And I'll explain about that another time, but that's really compelling for them. But as we evolve this, I was thinking in shortlisting projects, I started picking up just the best of the best, right? And we started ending up with a short list of about 60 projects, which I could consider tier one, right? Which means that these guys can probably explode, I met one which I no brainer. It looks like it's going to be the next $1 billion market cap layer one. And they have some amazing investors in them as well. So then the idea evolved that, hey, you know what? We didn't want this show to have like the good projects and the medium projects and the so-called bad projects, and to rip into those projects, right, and destroy reputations and destroy lives. I didn't think we want that. So we changed the format of the show to become the best of the best, the all-stars, so to speak. You know, who's going to be the ultimate shining star in the space, right? Which is going to be the most impressive startup amongst the best, you know? And I pitched this idea to Riaz, because I'm the one going out there trying to get projects in, sign up with us. And I pitched the idea to Riaz and said, Riaz, why don't we do this, right? Instead of just having those, good, bad, and ugly, why don't we just have all of them rock stars, and all of them coming in to this. And he really liked that idea. And I think he spoke to the producers.
That's even better, because I will find me the best project out there, and more than likely I can poke holes in it and still rip them to shreds. And to some degree, not a bad way, but a lot of there's usually missing something, right? A lot of these guys are first-time founders. Maybe they come with excellent backgrounds from Web 2. Maybe they've got successful exits before in equity, but maybe they're newer into Web 3. Maybe they have, and oftentimes, guys, advisors are not actually surprised. They're not actually don't have the best interest of the project at hand. So they're getting fed bad advice from people like market makers or people like launchpads or some KOLs. And so it's not their fault. They're just being misguided sometimes. And so I like this, because it's like if I'm talking to them, I'm like, hey, first of all, I like you as a founder, awesome idea. I think this thing could really work, but have you thought about this, right? Or this is going to be actually what you haven't thought about. This is a fatal mistake. If you don't do something about this, there's no way you're going to make it, right? And I come across us all the time. And sometimes they're either so arrogant that they just got so much smoke blown up their ass recently that because they got investment from whoever. And sometimes I look at a cap table, I'm like, how the fuck did these guys? How did they get investors from like these guys are retarded? How did these guys? I don't it blows my mind sometimes to see some of these cap tables, and I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. So it's, I think you take the quote unquote best of the best, and I think it makes it even more of an interesting show, because then you have to
yeah. I mean, it's so easy to rip into an obviously bad project, right?
Yeah, right.
But you gotta know your way around the game to see, to most people they say, oh my God, this is so amazing. They've got there's one project, they have Paris Hilton and Lil Wayne all invested in them, right? They have all the celebrities and the stars, and they have all the razzmatazz, and of course we had to get them, right? Everybody was after them. Everybody wants an allocation of these guys, and negotiating with these guys are hard. They're like, no, we don't want your investment. We don't need investment from the judges. We don't need any advice. We don't need anything. We just want to show the world how good we are. They're absolute rock stars, So that was interesting dealing with them, because it's a different negotiation, Everybody's after them. They're so sought after, right? And sometimes you just think, oh my God, they're perfect. But people like yourself, I'm sure, because you're so experienced, it'll be so interesting for us to see, hey, look, this is how a truly experienced VC or investor looks into these things. It goes past all the hype, all that glitter and blizz and whatever, right?
It's a very humbling experience for a founder to be in the spotlight for a period of time around the time that the token launches, and then to learn later that it's actually a lot harder to maintain people, because your token's already trading in the market anymore. That chance of that 10, 20, 30, 40x is no longer on the table, not in the short term. And now you actually need to produce, right? Now you actually need to deliver. And I think there's so much emphasis put around the actual TGE, or token generation event. And people judge a project based on how many multiples it does on the launch, which is ludicrous. This is the first day that the public gets to perceive a value of your token that wasn't artificially placed there by some launchpad or some investors. And then you have all of these KOLs who obviously hold bags and want it to pump, saying this is the best thing since sliced bread. But when those investors start taking profits and the KOLs start exiting the positions, like who's left really to care about your thing? Like you need to deliver, you need to get actual adoption, you need to get utility for the token, you need to get demand. And
Yeah.
it can be a very, very, very humbling experience for founders to go through that, you know. And then they come, you know, later back with their tail between their legs and come back to you and be like, oh, I'm sorry, can we go on your show now? Like whatever it is. Like it's you know, it's an interesting place.
Yeah, negotiations has been hard though. I'm telling you, with these guys, it's been really, really hard. But we decided we want to go down this path. You know, the best incubators out there, and the best of the best of what they have. You know, something which is the most hype right now. And I would say, like, some of them are really amazing projects. I mean, I look at it, I feel that some of them can actually disrupt things in the Web2 world, definitely. You know, and we will be announcing these projects from the 12th onwards, I think. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
From the 12th onwards, 12, 15, 16, we're going to announce some of them. And Carl will share it with you and the rest of the night, so you guys can have a look at these guys and be like mentally prepared and stuff like that. You know, so the other thing that we're doing is a little bit different, is that we're going to have a reality shoot. So it's not just going to be the studio shoot, and this is for the audience. I think, Carl, did I share this with you? I mean, so many.
I think you did. Yeah, you'll have the crew come out for some time.
Yeah.
To kind of see a day in the life.
Yeah. Correct, right? Share that with you, right? So many, but this is for the community. They don't know this yet. So we're gonna have like a reality shoot, which is not a studio shoot. A studio shoot is everybody's in the studio and we'll film everything. That's going to be for about 10 days. But the reality shoot is where we'll get camera crew following the nights and the projects for a whole day, just to get that backstory, just to see a day in the life. Okay. So I think that when we did testing, we found that was really, really interesting and really exciting. And it was just pitching. It's a bit boring. Okay. Yeah. So I think it would be good for everyone to get to know you more and to know the projects more. And that's why we're super excited about the project, about the show. So that just so you guys know, pre-production has started. Some filming has started already. Okay. We're going to start ramping this up soon. And we're timing it in time for the NFT sale. So all of you, I think you're properly staked. So get in there. All right, Kenny, back to you. Let's get questions from the.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, let's take a few questions from the community, guys. If there's anything that you want to, anything that catches your attention, just let me know, and I can bring it up. So, guys, yeah, we'll take your questions now.
Focus on Carl, right? Forget about me.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's start with a funny one.
Okay.
Because, dear Carl, when you're chilling, what do you vibe to? Do you listen to EDM?
Now that's a good question. No, typically not. Like, I think the closest I get to EDM would be like these if you ever go to YouTube and you just type in like Ibiza tropical house, and it's just like this, like, you know, like something you would listen to at like a Cafe Del Mar beach club in like Ibiza or something. But I'm usually listening to be honest, like mostly YouTube videos, content, education, learning, and it's really hard for me to like. Sometimes we plan like a weekend once in a while where like I'll go away with my girlfriend and my dog, and I will really have to make an effort to disconnect, and they really appreciate that. But then it's like, then I actually kind of like to revert back to what I used to jam to when I was really, really into music, you know, back in like high school, and like, you know, and whatever that is, it was either anything like Rides Against, Gaslight Anthem, to Bob Marley, Bone Thugs and Harmony, like just whatever that like puts me back in that like nostalgic mood of like, you know, back in the day, whatever, Green Day, like, I don't know, just like fun kind of 90s, early 2000s kind of stuff. Lots of like California, SoCal California reggae, like Revolution, Iration, Hyrie, stuff like that. You know, but like, again, it's yeah, I'm 30. I think I'm I don't know, 38 or 39. 1984, December 7th. I think I'm 30. I think I'm 39. 39, right? So yeah, 39. Yeah.
Very eclectic tastes. Now we'll get to a more crypto oriented one. CryptoKnights acts in many ways like a launchpad since it gives a lot of exposure to hundreds of millions of viewers. From your experience with paid, what lessons can you bring to this?
So, wait, can you put the question up again, please?
Pop it back up. There you go.
Yeah, act in many ways it's like a launchpad. It gives lots of exposure to hundreds of millions of viewers. From experience with paid, what lessons can you bring to this? I think that we should. Depending on what stage we get to the project, right? And I think that there's a lot of ways and a lot of stages in which a project could maybe be looking for capital investment and attention. I think that we will probably be talking to maybe the gamut. I don't know. Ideally, like if they are pre-token launch and there's still opportunity there, I think that maybe is the most exciting for people that are watching, because then they get to participate, right? And then maybe we can do something with paid ignition with our launchpad, since it's the only one that seems to care about retail. And this is who the show is geared toward. Like literally, I can't believe them a lot. You guys will like. I don't even want to blow the roof off on this, but like I'll just tell you that we've been doing some investigative reporting with some on-chain forensic analysis of different schemes that are going on out there right now, and it's not nice. But yeah, anyway, so the things that I bring is just you always want to make sure to manage people's expectations and try to do what's in the best interest of everybody. Like for us, in 2021, paid ignition as a launchpad. We operated the same way largely as everybody else, where we were trying to get the initial market cap as low as possible, so that and limit the amount of allocation available for public, so that they had to buy it in the secondary market, then hype it up with all the influencers, pump it to Valhalla, see where it tops out at, and then mark that as all-time high, and then even though it's just a wick for a second, and then advertise that as like that's how good we are, right? Even though nobody got that, right? Nobody sold the top, nobody, like nothing, right? And I just realized that's not a sustainable way to operate, and it doesn't set realistic expectations for people. And I think that managing people's expectations is a very good thing to do, and it's better to see healthier, linear, positive growth than this erratic chart that maybe starts out really high and then ends up. And I know from firsthand experience, like we lived in this smoke and mirrors thing in 2021. We didn't really know any better. It's what everyone was doing. And if you look at paid networks chart, it looks horrible. And it's still up. It's still up 25x or whatever from investors, but like it's still down 99% from all-time high because it was that high. It was $3.6 billion valuation, which we had no revenue at the time. Like should never have been a $3.6 billion valuation, right? It was just all the hype. And so managing expectations and working with founders to make sure that that they can deliver on those expectations. And I think that's the most important thing is seeing if a project delivers over time consistently. And if they do, they're working closer to that end goal. And that the end goal is really where the moonshot is. The end goal is really where, where that everything else that maybe all the losses that you've had, that's more than made up for on those moon bags, right? And so I think managing expectations is a big one, right? And I've been trying to be more aware of doing this around everything that we do. Is just like, let's be sustainable. Let's be realistic about the way that we approach things. I mean, unless you're dealing with meme coins, then a different story, total lottery.
So question about meme coins, Carl, you have to answer this, okay? Does a token need utility? I ask because meme coins have no utility in my eyes, but can still reach astronomical market caps. You found that question based by eWorld?
I think that there's a couple of ways that you can answer that. So one is, there's one is the same kind of response that people were giving around the 2021 NFT craze, right? It's like, oh, it's all about the communities. But like when the meme thing really got kicked off, a few months ago, you would hear people like panelists go on, like, and I love Rand, this is no disrespect to him, but like the panelists on Crypto Banter one day that I was listening to, they were like, yeah, bro, like this community of, sup bunnies or whatever, like they're the best community ever. I'm like, dude, literally the dev thought about the idea last night, pulled up a design using like an AI generative thing and launched a website in 10 seconds. And you said the community is awesome. And like, there's no community there. People just can't, like, there's literally no community there. So So this is a like that's just what is this, like completely like gone, right? Mentally just gone. Like to think that you could draw that kind of conclusion, but we have seen on the flip hand, true communities being born out of a meme or an identity, right? A character to rally around. Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example, punks. You know, even the ones that seem to stick after a while, like like Dog with Hat. And even though with Dog with Hat, I feel like that was just a good viral meme where I don't even know if it has a community, but the virality was so good that story can play on for so long because it's just that hat. It's just a whiff of hat. And like, and so I think that the ones that like certainly all of the beta plays, the Me Too's, the dog with hat, so let's make it a mouse with hat. Like that's not going to work, right? Obviously, you're just trying to money grab, and everyone knows that. It's a game of who can get out quicker before everyone else, so you're not exit liquidity. But what's going to be really interesting is, and I think that we're going to see it. In fact, I'm already extremely bullish on a project where the meme is the brand identity. It is the thing that draws people around this cultural idea that becomes a community, but there's real utility behind it. You know, a project that I would actually love to get on the show. I don't know if they will come because they're anon, but like maybe we can dress them up in something or like whatever. I don't know. Yeah. But so I don't know how much time here you have, but like essentially, you know, earlier Pepe, right? Pepe was, so I've actually done really well on these big memes. I publicly talk about them on my channel and my private group. Like I've had a good track record of identifying these memes early, whether it was Pepe, whether it was Bonk, whether it was Whiff, whether it was Book of Memes. And so I was quite early in Pepe, and I made a lot of money in Pepe. And Pepe is the world's most common meme, right? We use it everywhere. Everyone uses Pepe for everything. So in January, I found out that this Pepe that we all know is a complete ripoff of the original Pepe meme coin, which was actually launched in 2016. And right now you can find it by ticker Pepe coin. And these guys are a group of hardcore devs that actually built a layer 1 blockchain before Ethereum was even launched, called Memetic was the name, as a meme, essentially meme chain, where Pepe was the coin of the layer 1 blockchain. So not only did it have utility of a layer 1 blockchain, but they also built the world's first NFT marketplace, although it wasn't called that at the time, but you can create pictures and store them on chain. They did a bunch of innovative first-hand things. And then now that same exact team is actually building one of the most insane advanced like AI infrastructure plays, layer 1 that does like, most of the audience won't even understand, but like insane, it's called FHE, which is the future of encryption. In order to make sure that we have, like their tagline is your inputs are your inputs, right? And this is the most interesting thing about AI is like, if we want AI to truly be companions for us and like be as good to us as possible, they must know everything about us, right? So if I want an AI to be the best assistant to me ever, then it must know everything about me. It must know everything, every intimate little dirty detail. And I would never feel comfortable sharing that with an AI owned by ChatGPT, by OpenAI or Google or Microsoft, right? But if you knew that there was a way to train your AI, and you knew without a doubt through this super insane encryption model that it would never be leaked in plain text to anybody ever, and you were the only one who ever had access to that, then you could feel comfortable sharing that with your AI. And then it could be truly effective. And so that's just a small portion of what these guys are building. So these original devs who has this track record back from 2016 have been building and delivering products the entire time. And now for the past like 2.5 years, have been working on this crazy AI infrastructure layer 1. And they've built in a way that this Pepe coin, they're taking that community with them. And you actually have to, so to get this, like, it's a long story, but anyway, let me just say that what I love about them is they have a provable track record, and they're bringing an insane utility in this new AI model to the Pepe coin, to where it's insane. Even in the white paper that's published at Cornell, there's a big brain Pepe on the white paper. The most insane like scientific white paper ever. There's a big brain Pepe on the white paper, but they're bringing utility to that. So we have this thing called the pepening, which we're talking about, which is like, and where the real Pepe, the OG, will flip the fake Pepe. And so right now, fake Pepe is like the 4 billion market cap. OG Pepe has been climbing the ranks from like when I started like 200 million, now it's at like 900 million. And wait until the story gets widespread, and then you'll see everyone. I think everyone will start to jump ship when they realize that they're on the Titanic and jump to the OG, and this will be like the true story of Phoenix rising to the ashes in meme coin world. So that's my favorite meme coin story. where real utility, but a meme can be that instigator of the culture, right? And I think that it's a good way to kind of show, that you have some character, personality, a brand identity, and then put something of substance behind it.
Awesome. I'm looking at all the questions.
Yeah. Is there any other ones you want?
I think there's one here that kind of relates to Commonwealth. I know we've kind of talked about it, but let's touch on it again. So the question is, what is the biggest hurdle at the moment for the little guy to invest in crypto space? What needs to change? What needs to happen to make crypto suitable for the masses? Kind of related.
Yeah, so I've talked about a lot of this. One of them is we need to think about how to be more inclusive. Like launch pads, and it's always been exclusive. It's always been for the people who have a bunch of money or super well connected. And so to the lady or gentleman who asked the question, like most listening to this have no opportunity to get involved before token is trading. Both paid ignition and our launchpad on the public side and Commonwealth from the private side, or earlier stage, we've looked at this and we want to give access to anybody. Like literally, believe it or not, like you watching this, like you can actually be super valuable member of a community. You can go into the live stream on Crypto Banter or Ivan on Tech or whatever, and you can go start. Let's say that we invested in a project called like, I don't know, like Bubblegum or something, right? And then like you were invested in Bubblegum through either paid ignition or through Commonwealth, and so now you're bullish on Bubblegum because like you have skin in the game, and so now you're gonna go on all these live streams and start talking about it, and in the comments of the live stream you're gonna be hashtag Bubblegum, talk about Bubblegum, what about Bubblegum, and like people see that, and me on my X account. Sometimes I get community members a lot saying, I make a post like, hey Kyle, I know that you're interested in this thing. I just discovered this other project. It's like it's comparable to this other thing that's worth $500 million. This is sitting at 2 million. Just check it out. That's worked for me before. Like I've actually looked at that, found it interesting, and then went and talked about it like on my video later that night. And that's normally something that I wouldn't have done otherwise, right? And that's the power of the community and why I think it's so valuable. And I think that I want to bring that back to the spotlight and really highlight how important the community is, and to get them involved and let them feel special. So
awesome.
It's really about just people who are thinking about this. How do we take what we've learned since altcoins really started becoming a thing in 2017? Like, how do we take all of those lessons cumulatively and apply them today to take the best, try to get worst of the bad stuff, and then but don't forget the good stuff. Remember, ICOs brought us Ethereum. They brought us Chainlink. They brought us Thorchain. Those were good. There was a lot of scams, but like in general, that was a good intention, right? These things. So
cool. Why don't we segue into something about CryptoKnights? I see a question here. Again, Kenny, I'm just intercepting you.
What's the user? If I can find the user, there's lots. So
well, he asked a whole bunch of questions, but he asked here one thing about CryptoKnights. Will you know the other Knights? Yes, Fran, we will introduce him to the other Knights. I just asked him earlier about his contacts. We're going to put them in a group together. And the question is, what do you think you can achieve with a show like CryptoKnights? What are your expectations?
Well, so my entire reason for being here, literally, I know this is going to sound completely bullshit to a lot of people, but remember, I was able to accumulate a lot of Bitcoin in 2012 and 13 at a very, very, very cheap price. By the end of 2015, like it was the first time I realized I would never have to work ever again anymore. And to a lot of people that maybe haven't achieved financial freedom, the idea of like continuing to work like baffles their mind. But trust me, like from that point in late 2015 or early 2016, I I kind of felt a little bit lost. Like, what am I supposed to do in life now? Like, what is my purpose? What am I doing? And it was kind of exploring around, did some traveling. I took photography because I needed a hobby. I went and shot, Northern Lights in Alaska with my dog. And then finally, and remember, all the way up until this time, I was very much a Bitcoiner, then, very much kind of understood Ethereum. But anyone that you met in this space before 2017 was truly interested in building something disruptive. Right? It was every conference, everyone you met was excited to build something. No one was talking about how many X's you were making. Nobody. It wasn't even a thing, right? Like maybe if you went to Wall Street and traded Bitcoin there, but like at these conferences, people building. In 2017, that all changed. I went to Consensus in New York, one of the big conferences, and everyone was in suits and like everyone was talking about money. And I saw everybody using these keywords like decentralization and blah, 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 but they didn't actually mean it, right? They were just trying to sell their centralized company with a token because it was easy to raise money. Mm-hmm. So I felt deeply concerned about that because this is my industry that you're stepping into right now, that I've been here for representing it for a long time. And now you're coming in here and you're fucking it all up. Like you guys are really the kind of people that I don't want to see here. Like, and so later that in 2018, I was in northern Thailand at a conference surrounded by crypto people. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't been to a conference in like a year and a half or 2 years. And I was surrounded by people who were not interested in crypto at all. Like it was driving me crazy. And so I realized that like I was up in Chiang Mai, I went to a conference surrounded by great people, and I had this epiphany. I said like, okay, I know what I should be doing here. My purpose here is to educate and really help usher in, like I said, this idea of why it's important. And those who understand that people who create decentralized systems that are adopted by masses, you do get rich, but you get rich by adding value to millions of people on the planet, and versus like other things where, there can be, in a lot of models that are beginning built today, the founders get really rich because they like sell a service or a product, but the token has no value. And so the token holders get left out to dry while the founders still make a bunch of money. And so that doesn't work. So I hope that with this show, like what I've always wanted was a platform where I can express these kind of things that I care about. And hopefully people get to know me a bit more through the show and become more interested. Like, and starting my YouTube channel, I can't come out and just immediately preach these kind of ideologies to people because they're not going to be interested. A lot of people are in their first, and I understand that. Like, it's fine. You see an opportunity to make money and it's life-changing to you, jump on that. And so my YouTube channel right now is all about teaching everybody what I know and how to make money. Right? And that is what brings them in. And at first it was just like, bam, 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 let's make money. Let's make it. And we're doing very good. Now I have a pretty loyal community that I can count on at least 20,000 people minimum every time, like the religious watchers, but then sometimes 50, 60,000. And I get to stop and drop in philosophy once in a while now, and they'll sit around and listen, which is great because now I get to start integrating the things that I think are the most important for us to understand moving forward as a space, as a whole together. And my job, I personally do not hear enough people who are coming out here and talking about like core values, right? Like what is it that's, Satoshi meant by having this public open blockchain that's permissionless, that's peer-to-peer, censorship resistant, immutable, decentralized. And so you still hear people out there thinking that centralized blockchains are disruptive. Mm-hmm. They're not. Like just because I run a server in my bedroom and then I put another one in my kitchen and I control both of them doesn't mean it's distributed. Doesn't mean it's decentralized by any means. And this is what I've had massive debates on like Mario's like back in the day, Mario's Twitter Spaces, where I just felt the other moderators that were on there and like I felt like it was me on the line. Mario wasn't there. Me on the line with a bunch of unbelievably just thick-skulled, numb. Like I was trying to have this debate with people about how this technology was not innovative. And every example they kept trying to give me just kept proving my point even more, but they didn't understand. And so anyway, I think that there's a lot of education to do, and that's what I hope to achieve the most is really to solve that inherent desire that everybody wants, which is to be able to financially change their position in life, but at the same time also teach them the right things to look for, because Those are going to be the ones that like everyone that's doing something half-assed will not be around in 5 or 10 years. They just won't be, right?
And I think, that's also speaking to the producers as well. The producers we have are Web 2 people. They don't really understand Web 3 at all, you see? And when they're talking to these projects, they're like, their mission is, how am I going to explain this complex thing that they bring to me and explain it in a very simple way? And how are we going to do storytelling, right? So the show will also try to, we're not just going to just sit back and just, film and pitch and that's it. We're going to try to use animation or whatever tools we can, to help with the storytelling. And we got producers in who we know are very good at taking complex ideas and unraveling it and bringing it to mass audiences to understand in a simple way. And it's a lot of effort on our part as well, because they're like, what the hell is this? They've not heard things like this before, right? So we have to try to explain it to them in a simple way, and we have to get the projects to explain it. And that's also a good experience for them, because they really rarely, besides talking to their wives and girlfriends, explain what their projects are about, So
I think it would be really cool. And just you can let me know if I'm way off basis here, but like, I think that it's really important to not require the audience to ever have to do any additional education to watch the show and be entertained. But if there was all the stuff that got cut out of the main episode because it was too complex or whatever, but it was actually like very good discussion, maybe that goes into some like members only, or like some sort of like behind the scenes footage where, hey guys, there's a lot more in-depth discussion actually that didn't make it on the show. Like a lot more deep, deliberate discussion. Maybe got really heated. Maybe it was like, maybe Kyle was calling him fucking like committing fraud or whatever, like whatever it was. And then we can give them a basis of education so they can go have better context about the discussion. So like, let me teach you about or I can even come in and say, hey guys, like, so this is what happened after we cut cameras. You can see it got quite heated because we get into this discussion about token economics. And let me explain to you why what I'm about to say is significant and relevant. And I can break that down really well for people so they can understand. That would be too lengthy to do on like a 30 or 60 minute.
That's something we can put on to RightStream Plus, our own streaming platform, right? Something we can put on, for sure. Right? We already told the production team, right, to send us all the extra stuff, and we'll package it. And I'm sure people want to watch more detailed stuff and more behind the scenes stuff. Of course, the main show has to be snappy and entertainment and all that kind of stuff, right? But we'll definitely have extended things.
An extended cut would be great, wouldn't it?
Just to see we'll have Plus, I think more, we have some people on our team who have ideas around this, how we can convert utility around it, but also make it open. That's definitely a thing. I see another question here, a personal question, if you don't mind me asking this, Carl. They said, why is your last name French? Where are you from? Do you speak French?
It's an interesting one. So my last name is actually like on my U.S. birth certificate is actually both my mother and my father's last names because they weren't married when I was born. Manasson Chassé, and I guess like because I grew up in America, my mom was French, my dad was like as American as they come. Being a young kid, like I felt like my mom was like the weird French mom because it's just much different culture, and I wanted to like fit in as a kid, and so like I think I took the least weird sounding one, right? Manasson versus Chassé. Like I took the one that sounded, and I just kind of adopted that. But oddly enough, like my dad's last name is French, but we literally don't have an idea where it came from. We think there was some mismatch, infidelity, kind of something up the ladder up there. We don't really know. It's kind of a wild side on my dad's side, like Topanga Canyon country boys, like doing. We don't know where it came from. But my dad's lineage certainly doesn't immediately trace back to France by any means. But I am, my mom's side is fully French.
Cool. You know what? You talked about podcasts and your YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. I'm seeing questions here. Say, are you going to market RightStream and CryptoKnights? So usually what happens, Carl, is we have an AMA here, but then we'll have an AMA on the Knight side, on their community. So,
for sure.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, this is again on that, on that note. Are you going to inform their communities about the upcoming show, what you're working on, the things you're doing with RightStream and CryptoKnights?
The question was there, it disappeared. Can you keep it on?
I can keep it on. Yeah. There you go. Wait, that's not it. Oh, that is a good question. This one is here.
Stimulate.
Stimulate.
Okay.
I think that it's so this is the interesting thing. Like this is the interesting thing about everybody having skin in the game, right? So bringing more exposure to paid, for example, or Commonwealth, which either Alex Becker or Banter or these other KOLs that I'm friends with, our advisors on, our ambassadors on, they're going to want to give reasons of why their audience should be interested in these things, right? And everything that I've been working on is really about appealing to the masses, and this is going to help bring exposure to the masses about what we're doing, right? And we're going to be able to achieve our goal of much greater capacity by having this exposure. So I think that I believe that they're certainly going to this is a big selling point for them, I think, to be able to call it out. Not to mention the fact that since I'm friends with them, they probably will have some suggestions of projects that they're invested into that they want to come on the show as well. And so this is the nice thing about the way that the space works, is that we all share deals. We all have aligned incentives, if we all have like a skin in the game or something, we all want to see that thing do well, and so, and a lot of them are just generally truly my friends, and they want to see, and also this is good for the entire space and industry as a whole. I think that they will all promote this and talk about it. I think everybody will, but the thing is that we don't really need the crypto space to talk about it, right? The crypto space is they're already going to all watch it. They're already going to talk about it. They already get all this stuff. Like we want to, I think the real thing is like, how do we pique the interest of all those millions of people out there who haven't dived in yet, and I'm really interested in, and so maybe that means, reaching out to other types of influencers outside, and leveraging their kind of, maybe we bring in Mr. Beast as a guest judge for an episode or something, right? I know that I can connect us to him, and maybe he can come pitch. Maybe he has some Web3 idea or something he wants to come pitch to us. I don't know. We could figure it out. But there's a lot of what's his face?
That would be amazing, though.
I'll definitely have a video on that one.
Yeah,
Mr. Beast. Yeah, that'd be great.
So, I don't know. I think that's interesting, right? Like, if you look at statistically, if you look at the kind of interest of the younger generation, like everyone, if you ask them if they'd rather have stocks or crypto, they're going to choose crypto, right? If they would have a bank account or have crypto, they're on a crypto. Like, it's no longer cool to have stocks. I can't even believe that people still trade stocks. Like, and like all those investments I told you earlier, I have equity and I've got stocks in those companies. I don't even know how to do anything with them. I figure that one day I will just relinquish those all to the IRS, and I'll just be like, okay, guys, we're settled. You just take all of my equity. I keep all my tokens. Like, good. But like, I think that we are creating a Shark Tank, which is a very cool show, with people who are actually inside the industry who know it. It's the kind of the sharks or the knights, if you will, of our industry, who know it much better than them, right? You can bring Mark Cuban on it, but he doesn't get it like we get it, right? He doesn't get these kind of investments. He gets equity. He gets his traditional P&L models and dollar, whatever it is. Like, so we are going to appeal to this whole new generation of people who are very interested and who have more importantly, it's tangible for them. On Shark Tank, the audience can never do anything about it. They didn't get a chance to invest or be part of these things. Now you see something on CryptoKnights, and the audience member can go do something about it. If you like it or you hate it, you can make your voice be heard, and you can go show if you like it by buying that token or participating in that sale or whatever, right? Like, and so it's way more engaging and interactive. And so I think Shark Tank was a very widely popular show, but this season right now, and potentially a super cycle, when Larry Fink is out there, our biggest advocates, streaming from like there's a lot of reasons that I think that this is the right timing, right audience, you know, for this to really be big.
Absolutely.
Right.
Super excited. It's been more than an hour, huh? It's been 1 hour.
Yeah, we're here, an hour and 15
It
minutes.
feels
We've
like
been
we can
going
go
on.
on and on forever, but we shouldn't. Right? Carl is like one of the most busiest people I've met. You know,
Yeah.
it's been real challenge. Like, you know, you guys think it's so easy to get in touch with the Knights, but these guys are extremely busy people. They work really, really hard. You know, they really put in the hours. And Carl, really appreciate you coming on, spending time with us like this. I know your time is so precious. I always really appreciate every moment we have talking together. Like, it's really amazing. I will be catching up with you on updates and stuff. I'll be introducing you to the rest of the Knights. And yes, I see the questions. We do have some female Knights coming. All right, it's taking a little bit of time. It's a complicated thing, but they are on the way. All right, but for now, I think we will keep up to date. And like I said, we'll be posting some of the new projects, some of the projects which are going to be on the show. We'll be sharing that. And Kyle, I'll be constantly in touch with you as well about the various projects you're working with, the KOLs, your partners and friends networks, 100%. You know, and hope to have an AMA on your side as well. That
Yeah,
would be amazing.
for sure.
Yeah, Ria's the show. All right,
Okay,
Kenny.
guys,
Any last things, Kenny?
Other than thank you, Kyle, for your time. Really, again, Joseph, thank you as well for joining, and most importantly, thank you guys out there for watching and listening. And we really look forward to the amazing things that we're going to do together in CryptoKnights. It's
I think that also there's a question that's hey Kyle, is there any way that we can directly ask you questions regarding crypto? So I have my own like kind of VIP community. If you guys are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do that, because in almost every video I tell you guys how to get into the VIP group. It doesn't cost anything, and I'm actually thinking about more ways to kind of open that up a bit. It's kind of a fine line because we share a lot of alpha in there, and like I think there's a point of like when it breaks down at some point. But anyway, it's an amazing group of people that all help each other answer questions. And when I have time, I am in there also. And we're also working on scaling up the entire media production, and that includes all of the socials, all of our chats, and figuring out a way to scale it. But I am in there from time to time. And also if you know where to look, you can find my Telegram and stuff like that too. It's not hard to find.
Be careful what you wish for. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, please, like don't ask me like how to buy Bitcoin or something. But yeah, if there's something like, yeah, that's my YouTube at Kyle Chassé Crypto.
If you want us to share some links with them, we'll share some links. All right, happy to do that.
Yeah. I can put it in the description when it's over. I can put all those links into the video description that you guys can follow there.
Yeah. All right.
Sweet.
Cool. Exciting times ahead.
Awesome.
So everyone, so sorry we can't answer all the questions. Carl, is there something you want to answer right now, or you're okay? You're good.
No, I'm really excited for this, guys. It's something that we've been thinking about for a while. Even before I started talking to you guys, I just didn't ever have the capacity or headspace to put it together. And I think that's that it was the right move to bring me in, because you're not going to find it's super rare. I think almost never. Let me know if you guys ever find anyone that's more passionate about the space than me. Like I typically don't, or at least that you can like feel it. You know, like I this is my blood, and I care about it a lot. So I think that'll come off very clear when people see this, and it's very honest. It's very transparent. Like there's no, I'm not no smoke and mirrors over here. It's just straight up. I'm going to tell you what I think. And that's
yeah, we're looking forward to it. 100%. All right. Thanks everyone. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for your time.
Thanks everybody.
Everyone. Thank you. And wherever you are, have a great morning, a great day, a great evening. All the best, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.